Okay, today we're trying all of the K-beauty makeup in our memory. You know, the nostalgic, the original, the OG, trendy K-beauty makeup products like Etude House, you know, this thing that existed probably more than a decade, and you know, the snow sebum powder, the cookie blusher from Etude, or Etude House, what it was called back in the day. The name is not even that anymore. And their foundations and all that sort of stuff, it's all makeup back in the day that was trendy from K-beauty. So if you are there as well and you want to see how these super nostalgic makeup perform in 2025 compared to all of the a million other products on the market right now, and kind of recall the memories back in the day, then keep watching. This video is all about that. Even this look, I feel like brings me back for a lot. The ombre, right? So yeah, keep watching. Okay, let's start with foundation. So for foundation, we have this Etude Double Lasting Foundation. I think this is one of the first liquid foundation that I know from K-beauty. But actually there was a better choice that I wasn't able to get, which is the Missha BB cream. I almost feel like that BB cream is the first BB cream in the whole world. Correct me if I'm wrong though, but for me, that was the first one in the whole history of BB cream. So I really wanted to get that, and over the years they actually extended their shade range. I think originally it only has like 2 shades. And I was just looking at the shade image that they have. The shade that's normally suitable for me from K-beauty is 23, and that shade looks so weird. It looked low-key gray. And that gray shade also just brings me back because for some reason a lot of BB cream back in the time was gray. So I was looking at the image and I was like, oh yeah, that was a part of the memory as well, the gray BB cream from K-beauty. And I was thinking of going a shade up, but the shade up from 23 I believe was a shade that looks kind of weird for me as well. And the only shade looks promising was 27, but the thing is, a lot of times the official photo wasn't very accurate, so I think maybe 27 would be too dark, and I can't find anywhere near me that I can do a swatch, so I don't want to screw this whole video up to choose a shade that's like totally wrong for me. So I just went with this one because this one has a lot of shades right now as well for K-beauty foundation, but it doesn't look like they are weird shades. They look like it's like a normal shades. So in theory, the Missha BB cream would be the one that I wanted to try, but yeah, I didn't try because of the gray shade range. Am I too white right now? Can I adjust this a little bit? Okay, I adjust the camera for a little bit because I feel like it was too bright, but let's actually apply this. Please expect a lot of like talking in this video because it's a video for the memory, for the nostalgic memories, so naturally I'm gonna talk about the memory, you know. This foundation is a very normal, like a very liquidy foundation. I feel like foundation back in the day, they look like this. The brush I'm gonna use is MAC 191. I don't know if any of you watch her, Pony Effect, on YouTube. I remember one of the couple first videos she posted on YouTube, she used this, and she uses a lot back then. This brush for me is kind of like nostalgic. And by the way, this one is a knockoff. It's not real. Probably not even $2 like a knockoff that I bought, because I wasn't gonna pay that much for a brush. I'm gonna apply this like how she applies it. Back in the time, I believe she applied like something like this. I feel like she is very ahead of her time. Why am I suddenly so dark? I feel like today's camera is doing something weird. Okay, let's just go with the bright side. I really think she's like kind of ahead of the time, because right now we are all applying foundation with a spatula, brush or stuff. But I remember when I watched her video like way back, she always used a brush like this or a spatula from like a painting tool, like actual spatula people who do painting that use. And I believe she has some artistry background and she can paint pretty well. Yeah, that's a part of my memory. And this thing, it's not K-beauty, but I thought why not? It's a beauty blender. This is one of the first of this kind of sponge. You know, when you use water, you damp it, it becomes bigger. I think this is one of the first kind, and I believe back in the day Korean people use this as well. I don't know, whatever. I just thought to include this. The shade might look like it's a little bit too light because it's summer right now and my face is pretty oily at this season. So normally my face would look pretty dark against my body because of the oiliness. I don't know why, like having a lot of oils just make my complexion like feel so like dull and like darker than it usually is. So I feel like this foundation, even though compared to this side of my face is pretty dark, but I feel like compared to the rest of my body it's like about the right shade. And this is the shade 23W1 Honey Sand. I think this is a very great shade for light medium warm olive skin. It's actually pretty nice. I don't know how well can you see the skin texture, but I think the coverage is around medium, and it's not like a super glowy foundation, but it also is not matte either. It's like on the middle side of everything type of foundation, which is very easy to use. And I feel like this foundation formulation is aligned with the current market. Is that a weird thing to say? Because I feel like sometimes the technology evolves so fast and something that's so relevant in the past time might not be as good in this time. And that's also why I wanted to do this video. You know, I want to see, is this product still good? And I think this one is. It's still good, and it's actually in my personal opinion, from my experience, better than some of the current Korean foundations. Because if you follow my channel, you know I tried a lot of like K-beauty foundations and a lot of them I didn't really like. But I think this one looked pretty decent. I guess the real test would be the wear, especially in this like extreme weather. Japan, the Tokyo summer is just something else. It probably has something to do with Japan being an island country surrounded by water from all directions, so it's very humid. Even if it's the same temperature, somehow the humid air just make it that much worse. So it's like really an extreme condition for foundations. For concealer, there's no other than this one. I guess Korean concealer always existed, but I think the only one that existed for so long and almost everybody uses K-beauty that knows is this one. It's the same words are in Korean that I cannot read, but it's all in the description box, and you know this concealer, right? I think they changed the packaging. The wording didn't look like this. I think this is like something perfect coverage tip concealer or something like that. And I have the shade 1.5, which is always the shade that I choose. And this one somehow always smells like shampoo for me for some reason. And I actually have had this a couple times in the past, and I don't have a strong feeling about it. Like it's not bad, but it also was never the concealer that I love the best. I think it's just like an okay concealer. It's just my opinion. Like even in the past I wasn't like fully into this concealer, but I feel like that's also because I was never a huge concealer person. I almost just always only use foundations, and if I ever use concealer, it mostly is just as foundation. So I feel like this is a semi-matte creamy concealer with medium coverage. It's not too heavy, but sometimes it can look heavy on me. I guess we'll see. Today it's wearing, again, okay. It always felt like this. I feel it's just mid. And somehow my base is starting to look a little heavy at this point. I'm gonna update you in the end. And today I think for dinner I'm gonna go out and eat something, so I'm gonna touch the outside air with this face to test it. And for powder, again, there's no other than this one. I think this is the powder for K-beauty back then. It's the Innisfree no sebum powder. I actually didn't even have to check the name. I remember the name. This is a little one that I got for like a skincare sample, not skincare sample, skincare set from Innisfree. And yeah, it's that type of HD powder, probably like the whitish one, that's super slippery almost type, if you know what I mean. And I'm actually not a big fan of this type of powder, so I might be biased. But let's just use its own little puff to apply. Actually, maybe it's better to use a brush. I don't know. Let's try with the sponge first. I feel like this is the powder that's probably the most accessible from K-beauty, even right now. I remember even on iHerb they had this powder. It is very mattifying, but that is like the thing with all of this type of powder, right? If you have used this kind of like super white HD powder-ish thing, you know the texture. It's that texture, and you really don't need that much. You can use a small amount and your face is like totally dry to the touch. Actually, maybe because it's summer now, I now feel like it's working pretty nicely. Probably because this like sweaty, oily season, I want something a little bit drier. Because when I first got it, I believe it was in the colder weather, and I wasn't liking it that much. Being in the summer just make me like it for a lot. And another way I like to use this type of powder is actually as dry shampoo, which might be weird, but I find this type of powder just work better than any dry shampoo for me because my scalp is very oily. I washed this probably 12 hours-ish before, and I feel like it's already starting to look like kind of oily and sweaty like my hair. So especially right now I have like a little bit of bangs. It just look way oilier than it normally would be, so I just kind of apply it as if like I'm applying on my face. Don't apply too much though. Apply the right amount for you and just kind of blend it with your hand. And I don't know how visible it is on the camera, but in real life this is way better than before, because before it was all like getting together in little strands and looking a little bit oily, and now it doesn't. Can you tell? So yeah, if I have a like HD powder that I don't want, I just use it as dry shampoo and it works well every time. I'm not mad I have this one, and I feel like even right now the HD powder category hasn't changed much. It's still this type of thing. So if I feel like if you like that type of powder, this is still a solid one because it's all the same. I rarely see much of a difference of this type of powder. You can have different opinion. But I always felt that way. For eyebrow, it's also from the brand Etude, which back in the day is called Etude Haus if you don't know. And this is the drawing eyebrow, and I have the shade 02 gray brown, which I actually don't know if this is the one back in the day, because I believe a lot of people used this type of eyebrow pencil and it all looks like this, and I don't remember the name. But from the price, I almost am sure this is what people was using back in the day. And I again remember Pony Effect on YouTube use a lot of this type of pencil. And this is roughly around 300 yen where I bought this, which is very, very cheap. And that's another part of my memory that like K-beauty being super affordable, and their pencils are like 200-300 yen ish. So yeah, I feel like right now it's hard to find an eyebrow pencil from a brand that you know for this price. I feel like it looks about right, and it's a harder formula. Oh, but on the eyebrows I feel like it feels a tiny little bit more waxy than on the back of my hand, and it looks a little bit more red than I normally would like. But I feel like it's still usable. It's just not my most preferred type of color. And I normally prefer my eyebrow pencil to be like a harder formula than this. This is again on the waxy side. Okay, it was decent for the price, at least. And I feel like eyebrow category is another category, especially for the pencils, that haven't changed that much. It's almost just the color, like which color you would like, or like how thin, or what shape the actual like tip the product is. And this triangle super thick type of like pencil, I think it's more popular back then. Realize I forgot to apply one thing before foundation, is this water tint. Do I try to use this right now and ruin my foundation? Probably shouldn't, right? I probably shouldn't do that. I think I can just try this on the lips, because my memory, this type of thing always looked a little bit patchy on the cheeks. And for the cheeks, we have the Cookie Plush blusher from Etude. So now for the eyes, we actually have two products. One is this 3CE Mood Recipe Multi Eye Color Palette in the shade Overtake. I think the shade Overtake is the one that like almost everybody had, right? It's like a very back in the day type of palette. But actually, you know what? The perfect one would also be from Etude, but I think they're all discontinued. I believe they had a single that it has like little heart embossing on it. Anybody still remembers that? And I think they probably discontinued it and released another collection for the singles. Before it was called like Look at My Eyes or something like that, and now it changed its name. So I think it was not meant to be like a reformulation, it's rather a discontinued product and they released something else. So I didn't get the new one, and the new one totally looked different. So I feel like it wasn't a representation for the nostalgic memory, you know. So that's for the single. And for the palette, I think the perfect one would be from SUQQU. It's the long ones, and it has like a colorful, not colorful, but it was a pretty vibrant packaging on the outside, and it's all food theme. There's like coffee or like bread or like sweets like type of thing like on this little long packaging, and it was like little small little pan, skinny pan on the inside, and I don't think they officially sell that anymore. You can only see that in some of the resellers, so I feel like it just wasn't worth it to buy that one. But they still have this thing. Again, I feel like I watched Pony use this back in the day on her channel. This is the SUQQU, the Bling Bling Eye Stick, and I choose the shade 16 Pinky Star Rain. And this shade, I don't know what shade was like super well known back in the day, but I feel like all of the eyeshadow sticks from all brands must have a shade like this, and this is the type of shade people use a lot back in the day. What do? Do I use this palette and layer this one on top, or do I use this thing first and use the eyeshadow palette on top? I think I can layer this first on one eye and layer the palette first on the other eye. So that way you can see it better for both products. And this one actually is not the creamiest formulation I have ever used. I think I used Bobbi Brown and by Terry and Laura Mercier. Those are all way more pigmented and way more creamy, but the price is also like probably more than 10 times more than this one. So, and I somehow feel like it looks a little bit lighter on the eye, on the lower lash line as well. And I feel like it almost doesn't really need that much of a blend because it was not a super pigmented formulation. And I feel like it's pretty much done. Right? Like, I don't think there's much blending that we need to do. This is actually pretty nice. One thing I didn't really like about the eyeshadow sticks is because the brands I was using are all so creamy and pigmented, so I feel like I'm sitting there blending forever. But this being not so creamy and pigmented is actually easier to use. Wasn't bad, and I think the finish is pretty nice. It's like kind of sparkly but not like over the board, and it has some base colors like a nice one and done eyeshadow. Messy swatch. But I feel like this is probably one of the most pigmented K-beauty eyeshadow I have used. And I recently reviewed their bigger palette, which is of course a newer product. And I feel the same way. It's like way more pigmented than other K-beauty eyeshadows I have used. So I'm excited to try this. I think we should do a very back in the day eyeshadow look as well, because I feel like back in the day the warmer shadows, the orange tones are all like everyone wears, even from Korea. I feel like other than in the 90s, I feel like everyone in the world was using like silver and black and stuff. But then 10 years later everyone was like into warm tones. I'm thinking to maybe use this shade all over my eyelid. Pretty nice, and I feel like somehow the formulation is a little bit different than this one. I feel like that one, the bigger one, is a little bit more creamy, and this one is more powdery. So I think they are probably not from the same line. And I can see some of fallout on this palette, and that palette literally has no fallout. So I think, again, the formulation is different. And this is the mid-tone matte shade. Pretty up to standard. I don't want to make, or do I? I'm thinking, do I want to make this super warm? if I want to make this super warm, I guess I have to go with this shade. And this type of shade is also very like back in the day type of shade. It's a matte, but it has some like kind of particle in it, but it's not like a glitter. I feel like this is the type of formulation I never understood. Because why? When you blend it, the particle is just gonna go away. I heard once from somewhere that this is to help the matte blend better, and I don't know if that's true. But yeah, back in the day there's a lot of this type of shade. I have little to no eyeshadow skills, so I'm just doing what I have been doing for like the last decade, is to put down a mid-toned shade and put a darker shade on the front and on the end of the eyelid. And that is literally what I'm doing right here. But again, it's pretty pigmented, right? For a create eyeshadow, this is way more pigmented than a lot of the other ones. And maybe I can use a little bit of an even darker shade and maybe have a little bit of this. And I feel like the particle from that last shade we use is getting in my eye, and then my eye is a little bit sore right now. And why not just use this shade as well at the center. I feel like back in the day I am rocking a super warm orange brown eyeshadow look every single day, and this is literally just how my eyes look like like about 10 years ago, I think. And a little bit of this lighter shimmer on the very center. Yeah, this is all I wear. And now let's match on the other side, and just a little bit this. I think it's okay to not layer much shimmers. And should I try to layer this on top of this pure powder eyeshadow side? I don't think it's doing anything. I don't think it layers well on powder eyeshadow. Just to match the other side, we have to put the shimmer, or the metallic, I should say, on this side as well. And for eyeliner and mascara, I can think of a mascara back in the day. It's also from Innisfree. The very skinny, thin mascara wand. Does any of you still remember? I was going to get that one, but I remember back in the day I thought that mascara was giving me no effect at all, so I didn't really like it. I was going to buy it anyways, but during the sale it was out of stock, so I was like, why pay like a lot of money? If I can't get it in the sale, I might as well just ditch it. So I don't really have a mascara, and I also don't have an eyeliner, because the one I can remember, this can be different from everybody, because I feel like back in the day there isn't one eyeliner product is like what everybody uses. But the one I remember is from the brand Marmont. Is that how you pronounce it? And it's a pot, and it has like a attached brush to it. You know the pot eyeliner gels? I feel like those were very popular back in the day, and I can't find it right now. I feel like it probably went out of style, right? Those type of products take some skills to do. And again, I remember Pony used a lot of those type of things, and it looks like it's pretty nice to use, but I remember back in the day when I used those type of product, it always smudged pretty badly. So that can also be another reason why people wasn't using it anymore. So yeah, no eyeliner and mascara. I'm just gonna use whatever I'm using at the moment. For contour, I think there's no other than this thing. The Too Cool for School art class. It's this thing. You must know this if you used K-beauty back then. I feel like this was everywhere in everybody's video. Even like in China, I feel like back in the day I was scrolling on Weibo. Everybody was using this. And now they have different shades compared to back then they only have one. I don't know if this is the one we had originally or if this is a new shade. I almost am positive this is a new shade. It's the shade Modern. I think this is a little bit cooler and lighter than the original shade. I choose this shade because I normally don't really contour around my face. I just contour around my nose. So I feel like this is a better shade because I really remember the original shade was a little bit too warm. I don't know, I like a more cooler tone and lighter shade to contour my nose. Yeah, I feel like the shade is pretty nice. I'm using the 2 lighter one and it's pretty powdery actually. Okay, it's pretty nice. And use the darker shade to contour the bottom of my lip a little bit. And maybe a little bit on top as well. Okay, and that's it. That's basically it. I don't really want to attempt to contour with this one because it never looks good on me. And I feel like this type of thing, it just almost never changes. It's all the same type of stuff. It's just a matter of what shade is popular in the moment, if that makes sense. Because sometimes, like in some trend, people like warmer things, and maybe a couple years later, people like cooler things. Therefore, brands might tweak the shade a little bit, but I feel like the formulation is almost all the same, and this one is pretty blendable. It looks pretty nice on the face, so I have no complaint. The packaging though feels a little bit flimsy, so I don't know how that will hold if you have this for a long time. But the thing is, this product exists for so long and I rarely see people complain about the packaging, so it might be fine. We have none other than the Etude Lovely Cookie Blusher. I think this is one of the first blushes I know from K-beauty. Again, I saw Pony Effect use this back in the day. And this shade of pink, I feel like people right now don't use this shade of pink. It might not look the same on the camera. In real life, it more look like a pink like this. I feel like, because right now I feel like people either use a pink that's a little bit paler or a little bit cooler or a little bit darker, and this is none of that. So this is really like a, I don't want to say dated, but kind of dated type of shade. Yeah, it's kind of a dated shade, but let's see how this looks on my face. And I'm using a stippling brush so I don't apply too much. And it has a little puff. Maybe we can try on the other side of the face. Oh, this is more pigmented than I thought it was. Because normally K-beauty blush wasn't very pigmented. And the pink definitely don't really match with the super warm eye look. And that is somehow also part of my memory, because back in the day I feel like people's cheeks color wasn't matching the eye color. And I was the same as well. I remember looking like this back in the day. But the blush itself wasn't bad. I think, again, this might be a minority take, but I feel like powder blush didn't really change much among all these years. It's just powder blushes, right? Maybe right now there's more satiny or a little bit shimmery, glowy powder blush more than before, but I think that's a different story. That doesn't mean the technology has changed that much. I feel like a matte blush. It's just a matte powder blush. It's the same thing back then and now. So I actually still think this is a great blush, and I forgot to try this sponge. And maybe let's try. Whoa, that's instantly way more color. Well, I guess if you want this to be way more pigmented, you can use the sponge. But I don't hate this blush. Even the color, even though I said it's a dated color, but on the face it's actually not that different than the pink blush people use right now. And that's another thing about blush, is it might look different in the pan, but as long as it's the same color category, it all in the end look somehow the same. For highlight, I don't know if there was a highlight that was super popular, because I feel like back in the day people really don't care about highlight. People are all going for the matte look, even in Korea. And even for glowy makeup from Korea, it was almost never because of a highlighter. It's because of the foundation they use, right? So this one is just, I don't know if this is a nostalgic product or not, but why not just include it type of product. It's the Clio Prism Highlighter Duo. I think the one that's like more original was the Prism Highlighter, but not dual. It's like a single shade and it has a lot of embossing. That is one of the more well-known highlight for me. Other than that, I can't think of any K-beauty highlighters. Can you? Like, I really don't recall any. Since our blush is a little bit more pink, let me use this pinkier side. Oh, actually, oh yeah, it was intense. It's just the first apply, there wasn't that much product on the brush. But blending out, it wasn't like Iron Man type of, like super metallic looking type of highlight. I think this looks nice. You can go very strong and overboard, but you can also blend this easily. It's a great highlight. And a little bit on the inner corner as well. Okay. Oh, maybe a little bit on the nose as well. And for the lips, we have two of the products. They are all from Etude. I feel like these ones are the ones people were using. I think these two are more than 10 years old. Correct me if I'm wrong. Especially this. I think this was inspired by the Benetint, right? And this was everywhere when K-beauty got popular. So now I don't know how this one would look, because the lip tint formula indeed has evolved a lot during the years, and right now I don't think K-beauty make this type of product anymore, like new releases. In my memory, this was the type of product that will stain the dead skin on your lips and not the alive part of your lip. So people usually have this super stark and unblended line on the inner rim of their lip, and that's also the trend, you know, the ombre effect lip. Only the inner side is darker and it gradually become lighter. You know, all the K-drama back in the day, the female characters all have a lip like that. And I remember me doing that a lot back in the day as well. I don't do that anymore. But I think right now they are still having a semi-similar trend, but it's not the same. I think right now they put like a nuder shade outside and a more vibrant shade inside. It wasn't as of like an intense, super vibrant shade anymore. But again, back in the day, like all of the K-dramas have this like magenta, super hot pink shade from like the inside and going on the ombre to the outside. Let's actually try this. This one I actually had for a couple months. So I used a chunk of it. This is the Dear Darling tint, and this is more of a gel tint. And this one, again, is the true original. The Dear Darling water tint in the shade, probably the shade Tomato or something. They don't have a shade name on the packaging. And it smells like grape juice, and it's like a reddish shade. Should we do an ombre? Maybe you can try. This is like literally just water and just blend it for a little bit. Is it just me, or does people actually just look like this back in then? Because I remember people's lip look like this. Maybe a little bit more on the upper lip though. And I feel like the formulation is almost the same. And I can taste the grape in this formulation. Like, can you see? It's only cleaning on the dry skin of my lips and not the alive part. This is even, you know, Pony Effect, she was a makeup artist and she has amazing skills, but I remember even her lips looks like this because this is just what this type of product do. It only stains the dead part of your lip. And because on my upper lip, the dead part is on the inside, so it almost looks like there's no color. But on the bottom part is like, I guess the dead part was a little bit whiter. Okay, yeah, this is really a look, a full face of makeup that's bringing me back, even the color story. Maybe I want to layer a little bit of this because this one actually don't really stain your lip that much, just a tiny little bit. So I can fill in this gap a little bit. Yeah, this is closer, I feel like, because this is more of an ombre and it's getting on my teeth. I was gonna find a lip gloss. Oh, it's staining so hard. Like, see that? I feel like this is like the center part is where I put the product down and it bleeds, and the bleed part and the original product part both stained. That's, I don't know how I feel about that. And now I feel like there is rarely any product that stains this badly. And back in the day, they even made products to specifically remove this type of stain. Okay, again, for the lip gloss, I can't recall a lip gloss that people used back in then. Because I feel like people didn't really care about lip glosses, right? Like, people's lip just look like this, like kind of dry and uneven, with the dead skin part being dyed with the lip tint. Yeah, so I think this is the look for today. The most nostalgic K-beauty makeup look. What do you think? I think most of the product was pretty nice. I'm gonna update you in a couple hours. It's like in the afternoon right now. Maybe 5-6-ish hours in this hot weather. I'll see you then. It's around 6 hours later or a little bit more. And it's pretty hot and humid today. And I'm just back from my dinner. I ate a pretty oily dinner, so all of the lip stains has been gone, but this is not gone. But it's like lighter than before, so I'm not too worried about it because I believe back in the days the lip stains from Korean brands, you know, the original OG ones, will stain your skin for like days. So that's definitely not what I want. And I think right now what is unique to C-Beauty lips products is it's actually advertising for not staining your lips, because I think back in the day K-beauty was super popular in China as well, and people are just so traumatized by how staining the lip stains can be. So now the market is all asking for non-stain lip products. Well, that's a little bit off track of today's topic, but the makeup did held pretty well. The foundation looks a little bit oily, but I think it's to be expected, especially considering the weather. It rains for a little bit and it's very like hot weather. This is definitely manageable for me. It was not like very ugly. This is on the better side. And I said before, it looks a tiny little bit heavy, but right now mixing with my natural oils, I think it looks pretty well. Actually, it doesn't look heavy anymore. And it's not moving around, being patchy or settling into my pores. None of that. It's wearing actually pretty great. The eyeshadows creased a little bit, but that's to be expected for my skin type as well. So now let's do a little bit of a roundup. The foundation, I think it's a solid choice even considering in 2025. It's medium coverage, not too matte, not too glowy, like satiny finish. Probably a little bit satiny matte, but satiny overall. And yeah, I feel like there has been way more shades in this range than other K-beauty products. So I think it's, you know, a little bit more inclusive at least. And I think this would be a little bit more accessible for a lot of people as well, because this has been on the market for so long. And I think Etude, this brand overall, is a brand that's a little bit more accessible outside of Asia as well. So I actually really liked this foundation. Now I'm like truly interested how I would think about the Misha BB cream, but I'm just not gonna try a gray shade. So you know, this is for the foundation. I really loved it. Actually, one of the best K-beauty foundation I've tried so far. You might not believe it, but I truly think that. And for powder, again, I don't think this type of powder evolved that much in the past more than a decade. It's always this very slippery formulation with a super white, almost starch looking color, and it's almost always a little bit too dry for your skin in the winter. So this weather, I think, is pretty well. It didn't make my foundation look heavy or anything, and my skin didn't feel dry, and it works super well as dry shampoo, which this is again what this type of powder is gonna do. It's not unique to this specific powder. But yeah, I'm not mad that I have this. And if we are gonna talk about a little bit more about the dry shampoo part, I have actually tried a lot of dry shampoo that is pretty popular from pretty popular brands, and a lot of those, the first couple seconds or a couple minutes, it looks like it worked, but after that it just looked even more heavy. It almost like there's more dirt to mix with my oil, therefore my hair looks even more weighed down and even more dirty. But this type of powder, I feel like it really absorbs the oil, because I don't really have other things to want dry shampoos to absorb. It's only oil. I wash my hair every single day. There's not much dirt on it, and build up product, because I don't use any product to my hair. It's all natural. So this absorbing all of the oil, and after all these hours of super humid weather, it's still looking not oily. You see the hair, the bands, it still look like not oily, which only this type of powder can ever do for me. So I don't mind to have something like this, and again, I don't think it changes much within the years. And what's next? Does this even need some explanation? I don't think. It's just fun to include. And the concealer, it doesn't look ugly at all, but I think I stick to my previous opinion. Even from the first time I tried this concealer, it's a solid formulation, but there's nothing special about it. I always feel like this is a concealer that there's nothing wrong, but I just feel like it's mid type of thing for me. I don't mind to have it, but I never like have this one in heavy rotation or anything. This eyeshadow is actually very pigmented and wears pretty well. Like I just said, the color didn't fade. So if you are someone you really like pigmented eyeshadow, but you always feel like K-beauty eyeshadows are just basically nothing, which a lot of times I'm against K-beauty eyeshadow. I don't think they are the best, but this formulation is very solid. This kind of reminds me of ColourPop eyeshadows, even though this is more expensive than ColourPop. But yeah, it reminds me of ColourPop, and I feel like the pigmentation is at the same level. And I do feel like this one is a little bit less powdery than some of the ColourPop eyeshadows, because in my memory some of the ColourPop eyeshadows can definitely be very powdery, but this one is it has like very minimal and manageable amount of fallout, like just a little bit, tiny little bit of kick off. And I think all of the shades, the quality is there. The metallic shades, the shimmer shades are pretty strong. It's just, I think this color story is like very dated. So I really want to try this type of 9-pan eyeshadows that's in another color story from them. If you have any color story specifically that you really like and would recommend, leave in the comments. I might try it. But yeah, I overall think this is a very solid formulation. And as I mentioned before, I think it's a different formulation than this one. This one I feel like it's way more nowadays type of formulation, because I feel like it's super creamy and it feels like it has some moisture in it. So when I'm applying it, there's literally zero kickoff, and it's a tiny bit less pigmented than this thing. So again, I feel like they are a different formulation. Is the eyebrow even worth mentioning? Well, I have nothing wrong, like I have nothing bad to say about this eyebrow, but I sometimes just an average eyebrow pencil that's on the waxy side, which is not what I prefer normally. So it wouldn't be my favorite, but I can use this. I wouldn't complain if I have to use this. So yeah, I feel like for the price, it's not bad. But in the unboxing video, somebody did mention they think this pencil dries out super quick, which I don't remember to have that problem back in the day, but it's a long while ago, so I don't know. Maybe that could happen since this is a waxy pencil, so the wax part could dry. It's not like this type of, you know, the uemura one, the super hard, dry, almost powder formulation that wouldn't really dry out. So pay attention to that, but I think this is just like almost $2 of an eyebrow pencil with so much product in it that I can't really complain. Right. I just wish I got a more cool tone color. And this thing, I have nothing bad to say about this. I still think this is a pretty nice product, and I just would rather they have a little bit more variety. I don't know, I just feel like these three shades are not that different. doesn't really serve a purpose of 3 shades in my opinion. It probably just serves the purpose of 2, like a lighter contour and a darker one. If they make one of the pan like a highlighting shade, I think this would be more versatile, but there's nothing wrong with the color and the formulation. And like I mentioned before, I don't think this type of product evolved much during the years. It's just a nice powder. It's not patchy, and it's not super pigmented, which I don't think people really want a contour powder to be super pigmented anyways. So yeah, I think it's still stand the test of time. And the blush. The blush, is the blush still there? Yeah, I think the blush is still there, right? You can see the pinkness on my face, which it means it lasts pretty well, and I actually liked the color, even though I say this is a dated a dated pink shade that only brands back in the day would make, but I don't hate this. Because in the pan, I say the color looks, it's dated, but the pinky type of blush all look kind of similar on your face in the end. It's just a matter of how it looks in the pan, which shouldn't matter that much for the people using this, right? So I think the formulation is still good. And again, I think powder blushes are not of a category that evolves much. Like among all these years, it's always been pretty similar actually. So I still think this is nice. I actually really like this. It's very fun to try out in the year of 2025. And for, oh, I forgot this eyeshadow stick. I don't think there's much, so I'm gonna assume this wears pretty well as well. Like this side I applied this has a base, and I don't think it's changing much. If anything, I almost feel like this side held a tiny little bit better. So I think it's a product that holds pretty well on a super weighty eyelid. I think this is a pretty solid formulation, but if you really want the Bobbi Brown, the By Terry, Laura Mercier type of super creamy and pigmented type of stick eyeshadow, you might not like this because again, this is not all that creamy. It's a little bit hard, but for me it's fine. It's nice because I don't have to try hard to blend it, and it's super affordable. I think it's like $2-3 in Japan. And this highlight, I believe back in the day people really cared that much about shimmery highlights. If we care, like I'm talking about East Asia, if we care, we most likely are using Western brands, I believe. I think the Becca highlighters were pretty popular in East Asia, especially in China and Korea back in the day as well. And MAC, I believe there was a limited edition MAC highlight that the embossing looks like a chunk of ginger. That was pretty popular in Asia as well. So I really think we are mostly using Western brands like the MAC, something lighter, like the baked formulation where there's a marble on it. I think you know what I'm talking about. It's one of the most original highlights. And the Laura Mercier highlight, that's like again a baked formulation, a super big domed pan. Those were really popular, but when it comes to K-beauty brands, I don't think there's something that was super popular in the highlight category. So for the lips, this one I have used for quite a bit. There's not much staining effect to this. This is basically just adds color to your lips. It's a super watery gel. I do think this is a kind of a dated formulation, but there's nothing wrong with it. It's just not aligned with the trend at the current moment. Not that it's a bad quality. And I actually really like the color. I think I bought this because one super viral TikTok video that the girl was talking about this shade something sweet potato, like type of name. The number is PK003 and it looked super nice on her and I bought it, and I think it's a pretty nice mauvey type of shade. It's nice. And this thing, the one of the most iconic K-beauty lip tint, this really brings me back the way it stained my hand. It really was staining people's lips for days, I believe. But they might change the formula, or maybe my memory was mixed up with some other lip tints. But I remember this one being super staining. But right now it's not. It's fading after 1 meal. But for this formula, I do think the lip tint formulation in the current days are better, because this one was staining my dead skin, which that I don't think you want. And I think current lip stains rarely do that anymore, you know, only staining the dead skin on your lips. So yeah, this is probably one of the products I wouldn't really recommend to try. I'm about to wash my face off. I want to kind of try to use this as a blush. You know, what to lose at this point? I'm gonna wash this off right after this. I do feel like it's a little bit patchy though. And I kind of feel like it's taking off my foundation here. So I don't really know if this is good for the cheeks as well. But I feel like this type of product, including the original of the original, the Benny tint, are always like this. They're like a little bit uneven. So this side, let me use the sponge. I feel like I applied a little too much. Well, I guess with the sponge, it applied okay. My foundation wasn't coming off that much. I guess it was fine. So that is the roundup and update of all of these products. I hope you enjoyed the video and this recalled some of your old memory. I had a lot of fun. So yeah, that's it. Thank you very much for watching. Bye.